My bully became my intern, so I assigned him to his own downfall. People always say success is the best revenge. You know what? They're wrong. Success only gets you a seat at the table. Real revenge? Real revenge is when the person who made your life miserable has to stand in front of you and ask for your approval. 10 years ago, I was the quiet kid in school. Skinny, awkward, completely obsessed with computers. I honestly thought if I kept my head down and minded my own business, people would just leave me alone. I was wrong. Because there was Ryan. Ryan was the kind of guy every school seems to have. Star athlete, loud, confident, the son of one of the wealthiest businessmen in town. Teachers loved him because he won championships. Other students laughed at his jokes because they were terrified of becoming his next target. And I was his favorite target. He used to call me Robot because I spent lunch breaks hiding in the computer lab. He'd knock my books out of my hands, dump my backpack into the trash, and lock me in storage closets just to hear everyone laugh when I finally got out. But one memory still sticks with me. I'd spent 3 months building a science fair project. It was the first thing I'd ever been proud of. I stayed up late every night, soldering circuits and writing code, while my parents thought I was studying for exams. The morning of the competition, I left my project on the display table for less than a minute. When I came back, Ryan was standing there. He looked me right in the eye and unplugged the entire thing. The screen went black. The judges walked over 30 seconds later. Months of work, gone. And do you know what I remember the most? It wasn't Ryan laughing. It was everyone else joining in. The worst part about being bullied isn't the humiliation. It's realizing that nobody is willing to stop it. I told teachers, I told counselors, I even tried telling the principal once. Every single time I'd hear the same thing. Ryan's a good kid. Maybe you're just misunderstanding him. Misunderstanding him. Apparently getting shoved into lockers and having your work destroyed was open to interpretation. By the time graduation came around, I'd stopped asking for help. Instead, I made myself a promise. One day, I'd build a life where people like Ryan couldn't touch me. So while everyone else was celebrating, I went to work. I earned scholarships. I studied software engineering. I spent weekends freelancing for tiny businesses just to pay my bills. While my classmates were posting party photos online, I was living in a cramped apartment with 2 roommates, surviving on instant noodles and caffeine. Trust me, there is nothing glamorous about debugging code at 3 in the morning while your dinner is a packet of instant ramen. But I kept going, because every late night reminded me of something. I never wanted to feel powerless again. 5 years later, 2 college friends and I launched a data analytics company. We built software that helped businesses predict market trends, and somehow, against all odds, it worked. The company grew. Investors came in, and eventually, a global consulting firm offered to buy us out for more money than I ever imagined seeing in my lifetime. I stayed on as Director of Strategic Intelligence. Nice office, big paycheck, a team of brilliant people. Honestly, it was everything that shy kid in high school used to dream about. Then, one Monday morning, Human Resources emailed me the list of incoming interns. I was halfway through my coffee when I opened the attachment. Name, university, qualifications. Then I reached the 3rd file, and I froze. Ryan Mitchell. I stared at the photo for a solid 10 seconds. Same jawline, same smug little smile, just a little older and a little more tired. Life, it seemed, hadn't been nearly as kind to him as it had been in high school. A quick look through his application told the story. His father's business had collapsed after a string of terrible investments. Ryan had bounced between jobs, failed to establish a career, and finally landed an internship through a professional development program. Then I noticed something that made me smile. He had absolutely no idea who I was. To be fair, 10 years changes a person. I'd lost weight, grew a beard, started wearing glasses. More importantly, I'd learned how to speak with confidence instead of looking at the floor every time someone raised their voice. When Ryan walked into the office that first morning, carrying his laptop bag and trying to look confident, he walked right past me. I stood up and offered my hand. "Good morning, you must be Ryan. I'm Daniel. I'll be supervising your team." He shook my hand. No hesitation, no recognition, nothing. For just a second, I thought about telling him. I imagined the look on his face if I said, "Remember the kid you spent 4 years tormenting? The one you called Robot?" But then, a much better idea came to me. I wouldn't tell him. I'd let him figure it out himself. Over the next 3 months, I watched him carefully. And the funny thing? He hadn't changed at all. The playground had simply become an office. He interrupted people in meetings, took credit for ideas that weren't his, treated junior staff like they were invisible. And whenever a project went well, somehow Ryan always found a way to stand in front of it and claim the spotlight. But I also noticed something else, something he'd probably been getting away with his entire life. He never checked the details. If someone handed him a report, he assumed it was correct. If he skimmed a document, he believed he understood it. And if people complimented him once, he immediately assumed he was the smartest person in the room. Confidence had become his replacement for competence. And that's when I realized something. I didn't need to ruin Ryan's career. I just needed to give him enough rope and trust him to do what he'd always done. Pull it tight around his own neck. And that's exactly what I did.